Welcome back. In this lecture, we will look into Git configuration. The Git configuration is done at three levels: system level, user level, and the project level. And of course, these configurations sit in different files. For system level, it's inside etc, and the file name is git config. And for the user level, it is inside the home directory. It is .gitconfig or .config/git/config. And at the project level, it's inside the .git directory and the file name is config. The .git directory gets created when you initialize the repository on your system, and we'll look into the details down the line. Now, when it comes to these three different configurations, while you're running the commands, we will have to specify certain flag or option. So the command itself is git config, and -- system will set configurations at the system level. And if you do -- global, it's at the user level, meaning if I'm the user on the system and logged in, and it doesn't matter how many Git repositories I create, if I set a global level, it gets applied to all the projects. But what if you want one project to be handled differently, meaning maybe project 1 is connected to your Git server 1, and the other one is connected to Git server 2, and the third is connected to GitHub. So when you have such different settings and different email addresses, then probably the project level configuration might be more appropriate for that situation. Well, now let us jump on to a Ubuntu machine and do some hands-on work in configuring your Git configuration. Here I am on my Ubuntu machine and I'm inside my home directory. For the global setting, the file sits inside your home directory and the file name is .gitconfig. And as you can see, the file does not exist. Now let me show you how you can set your username and email address. The command is git config. Because we are doing this at the global level, it is a -- global. Next, the setting is user.name and pass the name. Done. The next piece of information that need to be set is the user.email, and I'm going to set it to coding gears at hotmail.com. And Git uses these two pieces of information to make any commits into your Git repository. So what does that mean? So as a part of commit object, it captures the username and the email address of the user committing that change. That way, when you look at the commit history, you will be able to tell who actually checked in that code for that particular commit. Next thing that you need to configure is the editor. It is core.editor, and I'm going to set it to VI on my Ubuntu machine. It can be any text editor like a Nano or Vim. And on a Windows machine, it could be Notepad, Notepad++, or a Notepad 2, or multi-edit in any text editor. Of course, you'll have to pass the whole path to that executable, along with any other options that you might need to invoke the editor from the command line. As I said, it gets invoked when you try to make a commit and you don't pass a message or a comment. The Git will invoke the editor for you and kind of force you to enter the comments or message. If you do not enter anything, then the commit will not go through. You are required and forced to enter some comments or message for any commit to go through. Now with that said, let me show you how you can list these values. You can do git config -- global -- list. That will give you the list here. In order for you to just extract a single value, all you have to do is do -- global user.name, and you just get that. If you want email, you do user.email. For the editor, it would be core.editor. Now, because we are using -- global, all these values are applicable to all the projects that are, all Git repositories that are initialized and used by this particular user training at dev 1. But what if you want one of your repos to use a different name, different email address? Then you would do at that project level. That means you would skip -- global. It would be git config user.name, and that information is set into the project level setting. And anytime you check in at that project level, the project level settings are used instead of the global settings. Well, that's it. As you have seen, it's very simple to configure these values. Well, that's it in this lecture, and I'll see you in the next.